Okay. Did you get it on your end? Are we recording as far as you
I,
can see?
yep.
Okay. I got a little weird thing in my So anyway, this is Rachel Weinhold. She is one of our applicants for the position at Family Shield Ministries for the part-time administrative assistant. And Rachel, again, we're grateful that you're willing to submit for this opportunity and for your inquiry and interest in this position as well. So thank you for this.
hmm
So let me start with the questions and just have at it, have some fun with that. And so when I ask these questions, there's a few others that are listening in too, but let me ask it as if it's just you and me talking, okay? What are the three most important things I need to know about you?
Um, I am very outgoing. So you can put me in a room full of people and I will talk to them. I have no issues speaking up in meetings, things like that. And then I am very driven. So if you set me on a new task that I don't know how to do or what to do with it, I will find the answers and I will figure out how to accomplish it. And then I am very passionate. So if there is something that is going on in ministry in any of the churches that I've worked at or in my own nonprofit that I feel like is leading us in the wrong direction or is something that just does not like sit well with me for whatever reason, I will let you know. And I will fight for what I think is the right way to accomplish something.
Okay. You mentioned nonprofit, so I'm going to kind of go off script a little bit here. Tell us a little bit about your own nonprofit and some of your other work with churches.
Okay, so I have experience as both a director of Christian education and a Lutheran elementary school teacher. And then currently I am serving my church here in St. Charles as a member of their Board of Family Life Ministry. And I am one of their like volunteer chaperones for things like the confirmation retreat and different youth activities there. I'm also on their vacation Bible school planning committee. And so that's kind of my passion for ministry in the church side of things is the youth and the education side of things. And then as far as my nonprofit, it's called Fostering Talent. It serves kids in the foster care system. We raise money and offer scholarships for kids who like they want to do an extracurricular activity, but their families can't afford to pay for it. So we kind of bridge that gap financially between what the like system pays for in terms of their education and just ways that they can build a new skill outside of school or find success in something that's not just the 9 to 5, go to school, and come home.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I'm just very encouraged by all that you are doing. That what an exciting thing. And then your nonprofit working with foster kids. Oh my goodness, I love it. Uh, the next question I've got for you is why do you think you'd be a good fit for this role with Family Shield Ministries?
I have a background with nonprofits, so I kind of understand their organizational structure, how they run. I'm also just very much a detail-oriented person in that, like, when you teach 20 children in one school year, you have to have all of their like folders and everything color coordinated and organized so that you know, like, this kid is working on these assessments and here's how I can best help them. So you have to have those attention to details and I just have a passion to serve. So the ministry itself, just working with families, helping families to continue to grow and thrive is something that I'm super passionate about. So any way that I can jump in and help continue to build up the family inside the church or outside of the church is always something that I'm willing to assist with.
Okay, very good. So I picked up on it sounded to me like you're a detailed oriented kind of person in some way. So my next statement, it's not really a question, but it says describe your attention to detail. Um, and maybe your attentiveness to detail. Can you describe that a little bit, a little more elaborately, even?
Yeah,
Can you be more detailed about that?
so I, on top of working in schools for 3 years with teaching the different children, I worked on in a digital marketing company. And
Oh,
so I had anywhere from 50 to 250 clients. So I met with them on a quarterly or a monthly basis and looked at, here's your marketing, here's how it's running, here's what we're doing behind the scenes, here's what we need from you, here's the goals that we're trying to focus on, what's changed in your company, what's something that's new, are you hiring, what's the market doing, what's the data and the research behind what we're doing. So for instance, for any one of my clients, I had a OneNote, and that OneNote told me kind of, it had about six different parts to it. The first part was just any personal facts about the client that just I had established through the relationship. Then it had notes on, here's their progress from the last time we met. Here's everything that we were working on, what that progress looked like. Here's any changes that at the end of the last meeting, we as a team behind the scenes were supposed to make, and kind of the details of what that looks like. And then on top of that, then it had, here's the new month's results and how that's fluctuated and changed. And if there were results that didn't look favorable, then it had notes on, here's why those results dipped. Maybe the market did something, maybe the competition changed. But it was like, here's all the information and that I can possibly gather before the presentation to the client to answer every question they may throw at me. So it was a lot, but it was all color coordinated, based on department, based on product. So like social media was all blue, search engine marketing was all yellow, the search engine optimization was green, and then like positive and negative results we had, if anything was in like a negative, hey, you have to be able to explain this dipped, this didn't go great, then that was all highlighted in red so that I would focus on, pay attention to this detail when you're talking to the clients. So
was that a level of detail that you brought to that organization, or is that something that you learned there?
it was very
Um,
that I just developed on my own. So we got acquired about 6 months into me working there. And the system that we had, where it was like, here's where you can put in your notes that you can like go back and read through, that system got like terminated. So we had a new system that had no system for notes and no organization. And it was like, in order to find what you did a month ago, you have to scroll through 50 pages of other people's input and logs. And that didn't work for me. So I had to create my own system for each client. And it was something that took me hours. Every client had its own folder within my email system. And so like I had to organize six different inboxes on top of my own. So I had my own clients to manage, and then I had my boss's inbox, and then I had our on-demand inbox, and then I had the internal, like, here's all of the Google Ads results inbox. So all of those inboxes, like, I was getting way too much information, way fast, and so I had to filter everything by, here's what client, here's what products. And if I got an email, I typically knew within a minute and a half of reading the email exactly how to file it, where it needed to be saved. And then when I was ready to work with that client, everything that I'd received about that client, like, I had in one spot, and I could go back and I could pull and reorganize and prep for that meeting. Because otherwise, I was digging through seven different things just to find information on one client. So I very much had to create a, here's where you go to look for all the information you need.
okay. I'm hesitant to even ask you my next question,
Uh-oh.
but I'm going to ask it because I want to ask all of my candidates this, mainly because I think you've probably already answered this. The next question or description I have is describe a time or two when your administrative assistance made a big difference in a project or managing a chaotic situation. I think you just shared that with me, but I'll let you answer if you want to go further with that. But it's like,
You
well,
do you want a positive difference or not positive difference?
well, so my next follow-up question is describe a time when you failed and what did you learn and do about it?
Um,
So,
so I I worked with somebody we in our internal software system. There were certain buttons that you just didn't touch. And if you accidentally hit certain buttons, instead of saving the work, you would delete work. And I figured this out accidentally because I was given access to the system with no training. And I went to hit save and it deleted what I had done. And
oh,
so my client disappeared. And so I called my boss and I was like, hey, this is what just happened. I tried to hit save here. This is what I was doing. This information disappeared. And thankfully, we still had the old system at the time. So I was able to go and I was able to like open it back up in the old system and recopy it in. So I just learned don't hit that button. Um, I had a colleague who 6 months later hit that button and she deleted 7 people's workflow and she didn't know how to fix it because she didn't have the old system to rely on anymore. And so
right.
I had to go in and I had to basically recreate 7 people's workflow system. It took me 3 days to fix. And if I hadn't had, I was able to fix my flow first and then I could work on my colleagues because I had the most organized information for my clients. And then I had to work on my colleagues and I was like, you're going to have information missing because you didn't have it stored. And this is the only way I know how to put it all back in. And so my colleagues very quickly learned here's what information is helpful for us to have stored in case this happens again. So that was part of the issue. The other issue is that she did this on the same day that CloudStrike had issues, which would
Oh,
not have been as big an issue, except somehow when the IT system decided to go and reset our system to make sure there were no issues from the CloudStrike attack, they turned one system to the New Zealand time zone and the other system into the Dominican Republic time zone, which somehow automatically also switched that one into Spanish. So I was trying to rebuild workflow while working in another language, which was kind of hilarious. And I had to call my Dominican Republic team members and be like, okay, I'm trying to find this and it doesn't look up the system. What do you guys normally use in your system? Because this is all in Spanish and I don't read Spanish. And they were like, oh, the phone number in the Dominican Republic, you put the area code last. So that was why I was having so much trouble finding everything, was because the area
oh,
was last. So once I learned that, then my work process got a lot faster. And then I stumbled upon a button that went translate. And I was like, I think that word says translate. Let's hit it. And then I somehow switched my system back to English. And then I had to like write down step by step instructions on how to do that so that the entire company could fix theirs. And I like stumbled upon it and I was like, I don't even know. I had to backtrack 6 steps to figure out how I even got to this button because
okay.
I was just like, I
Wow.
don't know what I'm reading. I'm gonna just stumble. Like it was a day. And so in the meantime, we're talking to clients and trying to schedule next meetings. But our calendar's in New Zealand's time and our clients are out in Hawaii and I'm in St. Charles and I'm like, hold on, let me do the right math to put this on the calendar correctly.
Wow.
It's a fun couple days.
I guess.
Yes.
Um, were you jovial about doing all that while that was going on?
I mean, it was one of those like if you don't laugh, you cry situations. But
Yeah.
it was one of those where this colleague that hit the button that deleted stuff had like done that to our department enough times where she'd like deleted enough things in the system that I questioned why she still had access to that part of the system. And so I finally ended up going to the manager and I was like, hey, like I don't mind this, but I would like to not have to repeat this. So can we please like lower this person's access in the system? And like what is her role and what can we do so that she can still be successful without having control here?
Right. Right.
So
Wow. So, my next question, Rachel, is we live in a digital world now. What skills do you bring to the table for helping to manage communication, um, coordinate details for Family Shield Ministries as an administrative assistant?
so first of all, my entire board of nonprofits is out in Nebraska. So anytime that I have to do anything with them, like for us to meet, I either have to drive to another state or we have to do everything all online through digital communications. So we've gotten really good at Google Docs and making sure that anything that we have is updated in real time so that like nobody can just like you send them a document and they try to download it and it doesn't work properly. Like it's all editable. But we also learned that if everyone can edit something in real time, you can also delete someone else's work. So we had to very much say only these members of the board can work on these documents. And we like time stamped things so that if there was more than one person working on the document at a time, like we were highlighting, hey, this is what we're changing as we're going. And then once we were done making changes, then we like time stamped it all so that it was like, hey, this is what I was working on prior to you logging in. So there's just that nuance. And then the other system is just that working in a digital marketing company, I learned to use Teams, Zoom. I was all work from home. So not only was I trying to meet with my clients who were in other time zones virtually, but I was also meeting with all my coworkers virtually and trying to fix systems. So it was just a lot of over communication sometimes of here's my schedule, here's what this looks like, here's when I'm free. And hey, we need to meet about this. A lot of it was if I put a meeting on someone's calendar, like I already sent them an email saying this meeting is on your calendar and here's the agenda. So that then they didn't feel like they were jumping in, even if that meeting was a semi-emergent and it happened same day, it was, hey, here's what's going on, here's how much time I need from you, and here's when it looks like both of us are free, so that they didn't just jump into a meeting and not know what was coming their way. That they were always expecting the call from me at a certain time. I never just out of the blue called someone because that was usually a sure sign that like the world was on fire. That only ever happened if I was like, hey guys, I'm working as fast as I can and I will need you at some point today, but I won't know how far I get until I'm done with the next person. And then again, I still was kind of warning them, have your calendar available this afternoon because this is what I'm dealing with.
Okay. Rachel, what is your superpower?
Um, I mean, if you ask anyone that I've worked with in the last couple of weeks, I currently am filling in and subbing for a childcare center. And so if you put me in a room full of children over the age of about one and under, I would say high school age, and you say, we need you to stall for 30 minutes while this happens, go entertain them. It doesn't matter the age group. I will figure it out. We will have a grand old time and you will be able to like go and set up whatever needs to be set up or gotten done. Like you need to put out cots, you need to change kids' diapers, you need 30 minutes in the gym. I've got you covered. I will come up with some activity and we will be entertained and safe.
Okay. So
It's a
we can
very weird
throw
power to have, but I can entertain a room full of children on the spot with no warning. Just
Okay.
stick them in a room and we'll go from there.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Good. Are you adaptive or must other people adapt to you?
Um, Depends on the situation. I like to think that I'm very adaptive, but if I come in and I've like worked on something and it's very like organized and color coded, and then you come in and you just like at random move something, every once in a while I'm like, okay, learn the system, please, because this makes all of our lives. So it just depends. In a meeting, in a situation where you're talking about ministry and we're saying we're going to move from one ministry to another, I can shift, I can pivot. But if it's in a system where it's like, hey, you've organized this for a reason and this is clearly your job, and I'm just coming in out of nowhere, I tend to insist that other people kind of learn my organizational system a little bit stronger.
Okay. Last question I have for you is why are you interested in this very part-time position with Family Shield Ministries?
So I currently am just filling my time with lots of part-time things. It was something that came across my desk in a time when I was like, I don't have a current full-time job. And it was something too that it was like, even when I was still working from home prior to transitioning out of the company because, they didn't need my position anymore. I was thinking about just, hey, I work from home. I have a very set schedule, but I also have a lot of flexibility with this. How can I serve? What can I take on? It's kind of how I filled a lot of things at my church. It was just a, hey, I've got the time. How can I serve you? And this just felt like something where it had a lot of cool opportunities to learn more about the nonprofit world, to work with a board who's been around for longer than a year and knows what they're doing. And also to just be able to serve better. I felt like it was something that I had the time to do, and it was a skill that I could fill and a need that was out there. And so that's kind of where I'm at in life. I will tell you, I am potentially getting a job in kind of the last rounds of interviews down at the LCMS International Center.
Oh,
So
good.
that may change how much flexibility I currently have. But it is something where just in looking with those hours, they've kind of already said, yes, what you're doing at your church, we would still be able to fit into like your day hours. And so something like this with a couple hours a week is definitely still doable. And that I've been able to, flexible with my nonprofit, things like that as well, that I'm not seeing any issues where I can't pick up something and say, hey, I'm serving the Lord this way.
Sure. Sure. Okay. Do you have any questions for me at this time?
I do not.
Okay. Well, very good then. Thank you so much for your time.
You're so
Uh,
welcome.
I have one more interview, and it's scheduled next week on Thursday. Just so
Okay.
you know, that's a number of days that are passing through here, but to honor, this person. But I want to give you that time perspective that it'll be towards the end of next week, first part of the following week before I'm probably ready to come back around. Unless I have a burning question, I want to come back and I'll probably give you a call and say, here's a little more information that I'm seeking. Can you share that with me? And let's just chat on the phone with that.
Sounds good. I will be in California for a couple days during that time, but I'll have my phone. And
Yeah,
I'm just touristing. I'm not doing anything work
gotcha.
related.
Okay.
Well, not
Well, I would set it up so we could work it out so it's a good moment for you to be able to do that if it comes to that. So
that.
thank you, Rachel. I thank you so much for giving us so much time today, and I appreciate all of your answers.